Okay, supposedly I'm live. I don't know. I'm going to pull it up on my laptop and see if I can get the comments going. Never done this before. If you are here and you can see or hear me, that would be awesome to know. As of right now, it looks like it's just me. And it looks like the light is pretty severe. A couple minutes early, so I'm just going to kind of fool around, and this is going to be an awkward opening because I have to figure out how to find myself. What is the name of my YouTube channel? Kat, you came in here and now you want to leave already. Anybody? Okay, you can hear me? Maybe? Yes? You can see me. You said hi. Can you hear me? Is the question. Okay. Let's see if I open this if I can hear me. Okay, I may have made, yes, awesome. Okay, so I think I made, let me go in and delete this one because I think I made duplicate lives. We're gonna get rid of this one. Yes, I understand. I'm deleting this forever. I'm sorry, this will get more exciting in a moment, but I just have no idea what I'm doing here. So we're gonna delete that one. Is this one scheduled? Yes, we're gonna delete this one too. Okay, I made it on the computer and then realized I couldn't access it on my phone from my laptop. Complicated. Okay, so I think we're live. Now I have to see if I can watch myself and get the comments on here. Thoughts? I feel like other people do this. It's a lot more not like what I'm doing now, but that's okay. Do I have a live? Show me a live. Yes, okay. I promise this will get better. Okay, well that's volume. This is not Mongolia. Okay. Okay, I see me. And I can see the chat. Everything is great. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to give it a couple minutes because this is very weird watching myself in two places. I'm going to be awkward at this. Get ready, everybody. Hi, welcome. I should have gotten rid of the notifications on my phone. It's in Do Not Disturb. Hopefully you're not hearing things. Okay, so we got a couple people. I'm going to be looking down at my laptop for the chat and recording on my phone because I think that's how you do things. I talked to Natalie of Nitty Natty and she was talking me through how to do this, and hopefully this works out. This is my first live, and today the podcast is 1 year old. So last year, I think it was actually I called it episode 0. It was just like an intro to who I am and what I do. If you're just joining for the first time and you happen to come across this awkward mess, I'm Bella of Bella's Custom Crochets. The lighting in here is bizarre, and normally I host a bi-weekly crochet and knit and design and fiber arts and stuff podcast. I'm coming to you from Connecticut. If you are joining in today, let me know where you're coming from if you're comfortable. You don't have to be very specific. Your state, your region, something. And what you're working on, whether it's a crochet project, knit project, sipping on something, whatever. Let me know what you're doing. I'd be happy to know. Because we need to buy some time for some people to come and find us, and I guess I can tell you what I'm working on. I may run out of yarn before I finish. Yeah, jump in the chat and let me know that you can hear me, see me, and where you are and what you're doing. And get that engagement going on here. What I'm working on is a Bolton Beanie, which will be finished product looking like this. This one has ends coming out of it everywhere. Hello from Saskatchewan, Canada. Ooh, Canada, hi. It's strings. It's approximately 2 p.m. here, West Virginia, and you're making a sweater. Very nice. What sweater are you working on? If you don't mind sharing the pattern, or if you're winging it, that's awesome. I'm working on a Bolton Beanie. It's my first crochet pattern, and I'm doing kind of a modified version, custom order. This one's for my husband. Just finished it, and then I'm working on a green one as well. It's a ribbed, it's crochet, but ribbed texture beanie. Super cozy, super warm, and super too warm for today. It's like 70 degrees out in November, and I'm sweating. So that's what I'm working on. The green yarn is Cascade 220 Superwash. First time I'm using it. Got it from yarn.com, which is webs. All right, people are jumping in. We're just getting started. If you're joining, let me know where you're coming from and what you're working on, or what you're drinking, or what you're up to today, or Whatever. I'm sorry if there's a beam of light coming this way. I don't know that closing the blinds would help, but maybe I'll jump up and try and do that real quick. Be right back. Hold on. Oh, let me just kick that camera. Yeah, that probably didn't do too much. Nope, there's just going to be a beam of light over there. Normally I record at night now, so the lighting's different in here, but no one wants to do a live with me at 10 p.m. So here we are. Let's see what we got. Still got, you're making a crochet cowl, infinity scarf in Virginia. Awesome. Hello, everybody joining from Georgia, and I'm trying to learn how to design. That's so exciting. It's definitely a learning process. I've been doing it for about 2 years now, and I'm still trying to learn how to design. I think everyone is, because every time you make something new, you're kind of like, I don't know how to make this. Let's see. What are you trying to design, out of curiosity? And you're making the boho swank. Is that like a, sounds like a sweater anklet, but you said it was a sweater. A sweater swancho that goes down to your ankles? I don't know. Making a Grafghan sweater. That sounds fun. What's the picture on the sweater? Making a wrap with cotton. Wow, we got all sorts of things across the board here. Cat, you're really going to make me get up and let you out. The people don't want to keep seeing me get up. Sorry, people. Balancing in a chair, letting a cat out, hitting the cat in the face. Okay. I'm just going to leave that crap because Lord knows a cat's going to need to come back. All right. I have quite the setup here. I think, all right, I'm going to try to work on my project. Hello from Michigan. Hello from Connecticut. Yes, it's a sweater, not sure on the pronunciation. I'm not sure to pronounce that either. That's very exciting. A soap shack is what is on my hook. Is that like a soap cover? Boyfriend's favorite game logo. That's very cool. Soap sack. That's a little better than a shack. Okay. Okay, there's a whole bunch of you. Thank you for joining me today. I am very excited. Now someone is like leaf blowing outside or something. It may or may not be my husband. We're just gonna wing it. I got a list of questions that people submitted over on Instagram that we're gonna get into in a little bit. But if you have any other questions that you wanted to ask me, I'm here to do a Ask Me almost sort of kind of anything. If you want to drop it down in the chat, I'd be happy to answer some questions or just chat with you guys about what I'm doing, what you're doing, whatever. We're just here for the hangout. I don't really have much agenda for the day for this live other than just figure out how to do a live. So thank you for being gracious to me and figuring out what in the world I'm doing here. I don't like that I have to keep looking down, but it's the only way that I can see the chat. So I'm going to get to working on this beanie. It is ribbing, so hopefully I don't mess that up too much. It is really much too hot to be crocheting. Just be working on all the like holiday things at this point, and it's like 70 something degrees outside. It's bizarre. 2020, man. Crazy times. All right, if nobody else has any super pressing questions, we've been going for a couple minutes here, so I'm gonna start with some of the questions that were submitted, I guess. I don't know, I don't see any of the people that had submitted the questions, so hopefully they join later on and get their questions answered. But again, if you're just joining in, who is blowing leaves out there? If you're just joining in, let me know what you're working on and where you're from. Okay. All right, so a couple questions in no particular order of importance. We'll start here. We have a question on Instagram from Ashley, who is Wish Upon a Hook. That leaf blower, guys. I'm so sorry. You did submit a question on Instagram. Okay, I have yours, Christine. Perfect. I'm sorry. I did not make the connection with the name, but yes, I have yours. It's in here somewhere. I will get to it. Sometimes it's hard to connect people's different internet names. I'm sorry. I try. All right, so Wish Upon a Hook Ashley asked recommendations for beginner knitting needles. And if anybody has any answers to these questions and wants to chime in, the chat will stay up whether we're live or after the fact as well. I think you'll be able to view the chat. So throw your answers in there if you have more helpful tips than I do. Because I learned how to knit as a very small child. That is my husband out there leaf blowing, let me just tell you. I learned how to knit from my grandmother when I was probably about 6 or 7. And she actually taught me on, I don't know what they're really called. We call them nut pickers, which is, you know, a ridiculous name. But those little metal, they're like this long. They almost look like a knitting needle, but they have a slightly curved end. They're for like picking the meat out of a walnut. They come with like nutcracker sets. Nut pickers is what we call them. And that's what she taught me how to knit on when I was really little. Chiming in from Minnesota, working on a knit sock test. Awesome. Christmas. Very nice. Some join in some Christmas sock make along type things. So I learned how to knit on a non-conventional knitting tool. And then later in life learned how to knit kind of again on these straight needles. I think these are probably like from a thrift store somewhere. See, the ends on these have seen some love. But yeah, I didn't really get into knitting until in high school sometime, and at that point I think I took out straight needles again and then kind of discovered circular needles, and again some like metal ones from a thrift store or a hand-me-down from somebody. And that's when knitting really clicked for me. But I think tips as far as if you're trying to learn to knit, and Ashley, I think you already know how to knit. I'm not sure. I don't remember if you are a knitter or not already, so I don't know what beginner knitting needles, like have you never knit before, or do you sort of know some basics? Because I think if you kind of know some basics, you can probably go to like a Joann or a Michaels and find, I know that a lot of places carry these clover bamboo ones. I have to say, I do not love bamboo. I do not love wood needles. But they tend to be less slippery. You can learn on straight needles and do just like a scarf or something, but you can also do anything that you can do on straight needles on circular needles and not join it in the round and just knit back and forth flat, which is what I prefer. Because straight needles only have so many purposes. It's really hard to like knit a sweater on a needle that's this long. So you can get these in different sizes. I know there's other brands that do wooden bamboo type needles. They're a little softer on the hands. They're a little more like pliable. They're not as stiff as metal ones. And the stitches don't slide as much. That being said, I hate that. I know that's what a lot of people recommend for learning. And it's generally better to learn on something larger and maybe in like a worsted weight yarn. You probably don't want to jump right into a fingering weight project on something itty bitty like a size 1 or 2. But hey, you want to make socks for your first project, whatever, you do you. There's so many resources out there as far as YouTube and stuff now that I think you can learn basically whatever you want, whenever you want. But if I had to pick a knitting needle that I recommended as an overall whole, Xiaogu. Hardcore my favorite. I do at this point have the, here they are, the interchangeable set. These ones are pretty pricey. I think they run about $150, if I'm not mistaken. But this is the set that goes from size 2 up to size 15. Interchangeable tips with different cords. And I definitely just dropped something. What flew out of here? I don't know. Definitely recommend this if you're getting more into knitting to get an interchangeable set because you don't have to keep buying single ones. But if you're just starting out, I really like these. And I think they're about maybe $12-ish a pair. I could have totally just made that up. But I think generally like between $9 and $15 is what an individual set of metal circulars would cost, depending on the brand. But you can, these are $13.75. The tag's right on there. Not a bad guess. But I think you can do like Knitter's Pride. I think Knit Picks carries a line of interchangeables as well that a lot of people like. I don't know if they sell individual needles. You can just buy a certain Knit Picks needle set, or if you have to buy the interchangeables. But if somebody else has better recommendations on beginner knitting needles. Wow, words are hard. Yeah, drop that down below because I don't know if that was very helpful, Ashley, and I'm sorry. But definitely if you're looking to be a more committed knitter and not keep buying $13.75 needles, invest in an interchangeable set of some kind. find all sorts of different reviews and whatnot on YouTube. And I do plan to do a review on these as well as my favorite crochet hooks, which are the Clover Amours. I have a whole blog post drafted of like my favorite tools and stuff that I've just needed to do and maybe film a video on as well. So that's coming. Let's see, I don't see any other questions popping up, so wait, are you not scrolling? Are we scrolling? Okay, we're good. Somebody from Chicago. Okay. Yes, keep dropping questions in the chat box if you would like to. Other questions that were submitted, I have 2 from Dana of Blue Daffodil Crafts. Dana is like possibly my oldest follower. I think she followed me back on my personal account, which don't bother looking for it. I haven't done anything on there since like 2017 and it's private because I just gave up on social media as a personal thing. I literally just have the business stuff at this point. But yeah, Dana was a follower of mine way back when. And yeah, she still follows me now and comments on my stuff, and I appreciate her. So thank you, Dana. So she submitted 2 different questions. First off, how many things have you knit or crocheted for your daughter? And last night I was like, ooh, good question. Let me count. And then I just started doing a tally in my head and gave up very quickly because it's a lot. I think prior to her being born, when I was pregnant, I was still working full time, but I did a lot of, I think that's when I started really getting into knitting. I did a lot of patterns by different, I'm drawing a blank now, but I can drop some stuff down below in the description box later on if we are interested. If you have favorite baby knitwear or crochet designers, feel free to drop those in the box now. But yeah, I made a bunch of like rompers and sweaters, and I think I made some booties and hats and stuff leading up to her being born. Probably had about 10 things made before she was born. And then since then I've probably made about something monthly for her. Definitely some months with more things. She's got who knows how many hats. She's got probably in her size right now 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe like 6 handmade sweaters that still currently fit her, and I made bunches before. Couple stuffed animals. She's got a birthday coming up, so she's getting more stuff. I'll probably make more stuff for Christmas. She's just really fun to make for. Because first of all, she's tiny and projects go really fast. She's getting larger, as you know, as children do, but it's still much faster to knit for her than it is to knit for me. And crochet stuff, it's kind of fun to play around with maybe like garment design ideas and stuff on a smaller scale, or just like try out other patterns and other designers. For crochet, I really love, well, I'm not good on the spot, guys, but I know which designers I love. Mon Petit Violon, I believe is how you pronounce it. She's a French designer. I don't remember what her name is, but she definitely has Etsy, possibly a Ravelry. And she has just really beautiful little girl patterns. All of her patterns are pretty lacy and dresses and stuff, so not great for the little boys. But really dainty, delicate, sweet little girl things. But I think most of her sizes only go up to toddler. On most things, she's got some larger ones. So my daughter's getting in the larger size range on those. Who else do I love? Woodland Stitchcraft. Bonnie has some really sweet crochet designs for, I think mostly little girls as well. The Velvet Acorn does knit and crochet designs that I really love. And Tin Can Knits has some great basics knits for both boys and girls. And then Sandra, possibly Sandra, I'm going to look her up really quick. I am not positive how to say it. Her designs are absolutely stunning, and she is from Portugal, I believe. Hang on, let me look her up real fast. But her stuff has been some of my very favorite knitwear for Agacelos. I'm not positive how to pronounce it, but I will drop her Instagram in the chat. Because did I did I disappear from live? Are you guys still there? Because now it's telling me something disconnected. It looks like I'm still live on my phone, but I have lost the live. Nope, never mind. We're good. We're good. I was looking at the wrong one. This is a real troubleshooting moment of my life. Okay, so I dropped her name in there. She has some phenomenal knitwear patterns for babies and children, I think, and some really good basic pieces, and just gorgeous. I love her stuff so much. I'm planning on making her, I think it's called the Oak Folk dolls. I want to make my daughter one of those for Christmas. Most of the crocheting is home decor. I'm still here. Okay, you like knitting children and baby sweaters? Yes. All right, so how many things have I knit for my daughter at this, knit or crocheted? At this point, probably over 30, which is a lot, but again, she's tiny. And I just really enjoy making for her, and she's at a fun stage right now where she actually appreciates when I make her things, and I know at some point we're going to hit that the stuff my mom makes isn't cool phase. Hopefully never, but I feel like that's normal. So right now she's just absolutely thrilled to wear stuff that her mama made, so I'm gonna just ride that train as long as I can. Really love that. And early on when she was first born, I mean, she's still pretty clingy now, but did not love being put down and would only basically sleep if I was holding her or wearing her, so I got pretty good at knitting and crocheting while either nursing or holding her in like a wrap thing. And I honestly think now that, like, if I'm holding her and using my hands, I think she thinks this like wrist motion is soothing at this point, which is funny, but she's getting a little heavy, but she still likes to be involved in the crafting. So yeah, I just figured out how to do my maker mama thing while holding a baby. Okay, other question from Dana was, how did you and Mr. Custom Crochets, whose name is Jojo, meet? A long story short, we met at our previous church. He showed up at my church that I had been there pretty much my whole life. He showed up in high school, and my first memory of him is we were playing in like a youth soccer tournament thing together, and he had a blue mohawk. He was a very short-lived blue mohawk. I think he only had it for like a month or a couple weeks or something, but that's my first memory of him ingrained in my mind. And him trying to play soccer and like head a ball with a mohawk, I was like, this guy is an idiot. He is a buffoon. And at that point, I think I was like 15. And then he kind of scared me for a couple years because he was just trying to be scary, trying to be tough, hardcore, screamy music vibes. He's not scary at all, but he kind of puts off that vibe to the general public. And yeah, so he got rid of the mohawk, and then he had long hair, and I was still not feeling it. And then we ended up on like the same team serving in our church. So he was a bassist, and I played keyboard and sang, so we like ended up on the same band rotation. And then we also ended up in the same like children's like Sunday school type ministry rotation as well. So I was kind of stuck hanging out with him, like it or not. And as it turned out, we had a lot in common, and pretty much instantly became really, really good friends. And then I like friend zoned the guy hardcore for like 3 years. Poor kid. God bless him, he stuck it out. And here we are. Yeah, the other day we were listening to the Office Ladies podcast, and he was like, yeah, our relationship is pretty much Jim and Pam. And I was like, I wasn't engaged to anyone. He was like, you were engaged to Jesus or yourself. I'm really not sure which. Accurate. Quite accurate. So yeah, I turned him down for about 3 years and then finally gave in. And now we live happily ever after and have a kid, and he's perfect. So that's our tumultuous relationship story. So yeah, I'm really glad that we were brought together because I probably would not have sought him out. As it turns out, he's perfect. As it turns out, this lighting is getting worse. So sorry. Check in the comments. Do not have an Instagram. Okay, there's not really a way for me. I mean, I guess I could have put up a I did put up a community post on YouTube, so I think next time you could drop a comment on there if you had a specific question, or you can throw a comment in the question box right now and I can answer it. There's not, I don't think, is there a way to do, I know you can do polls on YouTube, but I don't think you can do like an ask me like question box like you can on Instagram. So I totally understand that not everybody has an Instagram. That's totally fine. That's just kind of the easiest way to gather the questions into one place. But if you have a question, go ahead and ask it right now. It doesn't need to be pre-submitted. Throw it in the box and I'd be happy to try and throw some random stuff at you. But thank you for being here, regardless of whether you follow me on Instagram or not. You are very welcome. All right, so I think we're getting to your question right now, Christine. You're into knitting socks right now, doing charity knitting and crochet. Awesome. Also into knitting socks, always. I haven't done as much charity stuff because I've been busy doing business designy stuff, but 'tis the season. I really do like that idea. Okay, so Christine had asked over on Instagram. You said you were crunchy. How crunchy are you? Or her question cut off and said, how crunchy are question mark. So I think you meant how crunchy are you. Correct me if I'm wrong before I go into a crunchy rant. I had mentioned in a Meet the Maker post or something that I described myself as crunchy, and that created this huge cloud of confusion over so many people, and I didn't realize that that was not a term everybody knew. So to clarify, crunchy, now my husband's outside talking to someone and I have no idea who it is. Okay, that's correct. All right, so we'll go on to this. Crunchy, some people have said, oh, we call that granola or hippie. Basically, lean more towards natural living, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. And I am going to try to answer this question carefully because I don't like to be the person that's like, I shop at Whole Foods and my children only eat kale that I carve into the shape of birds of the forest and serve to them on a wooden bowl, because that's annoying. Yeah, I don't like the pretentious crunchy people. I'm not trying to be better than anybody. This is just how I live my life. You can eat and do whatever you want. But basically, a part of my crunchiness has been bestowed upon me by the good Lord or something, family genetics, because I've been a vegetarian for going on 20 years, long time. Technically pescatarian because I sometimes eat fish, but I stopped saying that because people thought pescatarian was a religion. It's not. It means I eat fish sometimes. As a whole, I'm a vegetarian, mostly because meat just doesn't agree with me and it makes me really sick. So that's why I stopped eating it. So it's not so much the ethical reasons, a little bit of that in there, but mainly because it just doesn't like me. And along the same line, I can't eat anything processed because I'm allergic to a very common preservative called MSG, which masquerades under a lot of names, but basically it's in like 80 to 90% of food that isn't like picked off a tree. So it's very tricky and a lot of label reading for me. It's not so far a like death thing, but my heart rate spikes and I get really bad hives and my eyes swell up, and yeah, so it could go anaphylactic at some point. So I avoid it very much so. So there's not a lot of processed food in my life, mostly plant-based, and I pretty much cook almost all of our food. And if we go out to eat or something, or even to like friends' houses, I have to be really careful about what it is that I eat and read labels. Also currently dairy-free. My daughter's dairy-free. We're hoping she outgrows it. But yeah, so I'm leaning more towards vegan at this point. So those all kind of fall into the category of crunchy. Also in the not really a choice category, I can't do anything with like fragrance or like heavy like cleaner chemical smells really bother me and give me bad headaches and migraines, and my dad's mom is the exact same way and she's allergic to all the exact same things, and so she kind of just gave me all of her crunchy lady genes, I guess. So we just joke all the time, you're turning into Grammy C. Not a terrible thing, but it does make life a little complicated. So all of that has kind of made me extra crunchy. But on top of that, I just like to be more natural. And I think it doesn't necessarily fall under crunchy, but I try to be, I guess, more conscious as far as what I'm putting in my body, on my body, as far as like cosmetics and stuff like that. Both my husband and daughter eat meat, but I do the grocery shopping, so a lot of what we eat is very clean. And just as far as where I even buy stuff from, yeah, I do shop on Amazon from time to time, and there's stuff that you can't really buy local or handmade, that kind of stuff. But I do try and shop in places that are more sustainable, more ethical practices, fair trades, people getting paid fair wages. So I just try to be more conscious with where I put my money and kind of vote with my money in that way, which I don't know if that falls under crunchy, but I think it's just that overall conscious about yourself and the world that you're in and the difference you can make kind of thing. So hopefully that explains the level of crunchiness that I am. Yes, we own many essential oils. I garden. I was homeschooled, so I know a lot about plants and animals. So hopefully that answers how crunchy are you. I'm sure there's tiers of crunchiness, and I'm frowned upon by some crunchy people and looked up to by some crunchy people, and I don't know. It doesn't really matter. That's just kind of who I am. And it forms a lot of my decisions, I guess, based on what I buy and what I eat and what I do. So hopefully that answers that. Thank you for answering. Good job, and carry on with the crunchy. Thank you, Christine. Crunchy on, everyone. It's a really hard question to answer without making everyone think I'm insane. Okay, so next question, and we're getting down. We only have 2 more, so if you have any others, please throw them in the box now, or this is going to be shorter than we thought. Holy Hooked, Mary Lynn, asked, what app or program do you use to lay out your patterns? Currently, I use Canva. I can elaborate on that a little bit. I'm using the free version of Canva, which you can find at canva.com. There is a paid version that I know a lot of people swear by. I don't know the going rate of it because I haven't ventured into the paid version yet. Currently, I use Canva for all of my stuff, so all of like the YouTube graphics that you're seeing currently, it's my website as well. Basically anything with font or graphics on it, I've used Canva. As far as patterns, I actually, when I'm designing the pattern, I take notes on my phone in either whatever the note thing that came on my Google Pixel is, or Google Docs, so I can access it, usually Google Docs, so I can access it from my computer. I used to write it out on paper, but now with a toddler and stuff getting moved around, it's much easier to have it all on my phone. And I've heard some feedback from certain designers that don't like having it in a Google platform, because then they've said technically they don't own it, and it's better to do it in like notes or something. I'm not entirely sure I understand all of that, so I can't really speak to that. Or they email it to themselves, which is still owned by Google. I don't know. I don't understand how that all works, but I'm really not super concerned about Google stealing my chicken scratch design notes. Good luck, Google. Godspeed. But I do try and take better notes because I used to design and then try and backtrack it, and that's a mess. So don't do that unless that works for you. It doesn't work for me. So I try to take very careful notes as I'm going, and then I copy and paste that Google note section. I clean it up a little bit, and then I move it over into Canva. It's kind of annoying to copy and paste into Canva, and you got to do like little text boxes, and sometimes it changes the formatting, and maybe it's better in the paid for version. I can't speak to that. But overall, it allows me to make stuff pretty cute. I used to do it in Word, and I feel like those weren't as cute, my earlier patterns. And I've gotten a little better at branding stuff, so they're a little more cohesive now. At some point, I need to go back and redo all of them so they all have the same brand vibe, but stuff's in the works on that, so I don't want to change them yet. But yeah, I think Canva's a really great tool in general. If you have a blog or a YouTube, or even if you want to make like tags for markets, you can do that, or any promotional stuff for, again, markets or events or really whatever. Canva's really awesome, and there's a lot you can do with the free version, and there's a ton of tutorials out there. But basically, yeah, I make it in Canva, pretty it up, throw some pictures in there, just drag my little text boxes around, and yeah, and then export it as a PDF. Often I end up compressing the PDF afterwards because they can turn out pretty huge. My patterns tend to be, I think my current garment pattern is like 16, 17 pages, which is a lot, but I do try to have photo tutorials and stuff in there and be very thorough. So I think that answers that question. If I can elaborate on that, I can't exactly tell you how I do it because I don't want you to make my patterns, but yeah, Canva's a great resource. And if you have specific questions, you can message me and I can try to help, but I am just making stuff up as I go. I don't really know what I'm doing, guys. My hair today, this is a random segue. I don't usually part my hair down the middle, but I took a shower at night last night instead of in the morning, and now I feel like I look like a Hanson brother, specifically Taylor Hanson. I have the same weird wave of Taylor Hanson circa 1997. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google Taylor Hanson 1997, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's Bella's long lost brother. Yes, Taylor Hanson's hair has made me feel better about my hair most of my life. Because is it wavy? Is it straight? I don't know. Comment below. Who's your favorite Hanson brother? And I'm not ashamed to say it. I think their music's still great. We still listen to Hanson in this household. My husband included. I think he loves Hanson more than I do. Mbop was a little trendy, and my daughter really likes Mbop. But, yeah, the fact that the music was written by, like, a 9-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 14-year-old or something, it's pretty darn impressive. They were great musicians. Okay, lyrically, maybe not, but musicians, amazing. Okay, I'm going to answer the one more question that I have here while you tell me which Hanson brother you identify as. And then I have one more question from Christine in the chat. If anybody wants to throw anything else in there, my pen is stuck, so I can't turn my page. Lighting's getting really weird. All right, Britt of Not Bad Brit asked, how do you decide how much stock to bring? Which specifically, I think she meant markets and events, because I don't just bring stock with me random places. It's annoying. You can only put so many words in these questions, so sometimes I'm guessing at the context. How much do you decide how much stock to bring? Question is, I'm not sure. Or answer is, I'm not sure. I think I've heard it said it's either 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 times the amount that you want to make. So you need to look at like your booth fee or any costs that you've had going into the event. And then if you have like multiple events over the year, you need to make sure you're covering your cost of materials. So you kind of gotta do some math in there and figure out like how much do I need to make this season for this to be profitable. So definitely have at least that amount of stuff and then some more, because you gotta have options for people, and it's really bad if you sell out at events. I mean, it's awesome for you if you sell out at events, but it's also really awkward if you get to the end of the day and you have 2 things on your table and people are walking by wondering why your table looks so sad. Really means you had a successful day, but also looks sad. I'm not great at this. I'm really great at having too much stuff. A lot of too much stuff. And it can be, definitely this year, it's going to be a weird guessing game for people as far as who's going to show up to events, how much money are they willing to spend, are they willing to buy stuff that they may or may not be able to try on at this point because of germs and whatnot. Yeah, it's definitely a weird year for that. It's just a weird year, guys. But I always have excess. And if you watched, I put up Friday a how to set up for handmade markets video, and then I also have last year an indoor and an outdoor setup video as well that you can find in, I think I have a Handmade Market 101 channel or a playlist on my channel where you can find all of those. But this year I'm actually just working off of stock that I had from last year, because I didn't make any stock for this year because all my events got canceled, and then end of last month 2 different businesses were like, hey, you want to do a pop-up? And I was like, sure, why not? So I kind of have a random assortment of stuff at this point. But as far as stock, you should probably, and this is guidelines and random stuff I'm making up on the spot here. I like to have a variety of price points. So some higher priced items, and then some lower priced items, and then some like mid-range priced items. So just like a range. So I think the most expensive thing that I sell at markets is $55 or $60, and you can sell whatever price point you want. Make sure you're making money off your stuff. That's real important. I talk about that in the video I put up on Friday, and how to set up for a handmade market. And there's some links and downloadable resources there as far as stuff to help you with pricing. But basically, if you have some higher price point items and then middle range items, it actually makes your middle range items, people are like, I can't buy the $60 thing, but ooh, I could buy this $40 thing. That's a great deal. Something mentally there happens. And I'm not trying to swindle people. It's the price of my items and how much I need to price them for to make money. But having a range does help as far as sales. And then I try to always have a smaller, maybe like impulse item, like those things that you see in a grocery store or even not a grocery store, but in a regular store as you're like in the checkout line and you're like, I didn't know I needed that, but I should get that because it's only $7. I need one of those. So I try to have a lower point item as far as like a quick gift item for somebody. I've done Christmas ornaments, I've done coasters, I've done, this year I think I'm going to try to do a couple crochet pumpkins. Last year I did like Worry Buddies, little stress balls with little eyes, safety eyes on them. Those were pretty fun. Just a little quick grab item. And sometimes it helps to have a lower price item that's like a toy or something aimed at kids, because parents are more likely to, when their kid comes up and is like, oh, I love this thing, people are more likely to buy it if it's not $60, you know? So that doesn't really answer how much to bring, but that's how I like to have a range. And I usually try to have a couple different types of hats. So I have a slouchy pom-pom beanie and then 2 more unisex beanies. Then I also have a kid beanie with ears. Probably could just get away with 1 gender-neutral beanie, pom-pom fun, colorful beanie, and then like a kid beanie. But it depends on your line and what you're trying to sell. And then I usually have an infinity scarf, and then a cowl, and then a shawl. It's pretty much my standard workup of items. But have a couple different things. Don't have a bazillion different things because that overwhelms people. Try to narrow it down. And I talk about in the video too how I probably should narrow down my color selection because I think that overwhelms people as well. But in general, I can point you to Pam Grice of Crochetpreneur, has fantastic market advice. My market advice is, I mean, it's tried and tested, but I'm still making it up every year as I go, and I feel like Pam knows what she's talking about when she talks about things. Or she at least presents it in a way better than I do. So go ask Pam. Pam knows things. All right, and then Christine asked, oh, you enjoyed that video? Thank you, Christine. One more question, and I think we'll have to wrap up soon because we're getting close to 45 minutes, and I think I can only do an hour. So Christine, design ideas, what inspires your designs? The answer to that is whatever inspires my designs. Again, I am very much I want to say impulsive, but I don't really have a specific source of inspiration. I feel like Made by Haley Bailey, she's very inspired by birds and moths, and that's super apparent in all of her designs. And I'm just inspired by what I'm inspired by. I'm inspired by rainbows. A lot of Roji Biv. I try to not be too trendy, but you also want to kind of follow the trends so that people want your stuff. I'm really inspired by indie dyed yarn right now, and trying to encourage crocheters when they can and it's within their budget to try hand dyed yarn, because I think it's really important to support small businesses and indie dyed things right now, rather than the big box stores. 2020's been rough. And always, I think it's really important to shop small when you can. So I'm really into encouraging crocheters to try hand-dyed yarn when they can. And I think just colors from designers really inspire me. And a lot of times, let's see, what do I have in my line? The latest sweater has the lavender bud design running up the center. The next design that I'm working, I can show you. The next design that I'm working on, I just swatched for it this morning, is inspired by 2020. It's going to be called the Hope and a Future wrap. Rainbows are cool and full of hope. That's the perfect comment because this is why I'm making this. Yeah, 2020 needs some hope. So it's the 2 base colors, they're all by Megs & Co. yarns. The 2 base colors are going to be this black and this gray. That's showing up. Yeah, this one's black, which is really cool for an indie dyed yarn because most dyers don't dye black yarn. And then this is a charcoal gray, and it's called Cinderella. And somebody commented and was like, she should have called it Cinderella, which I'm going to petition that she change it. Not really, but that would be awesome. That one wasn't custom dyed, but then she dyed me, a couple were custom and a couple are already in her line. A whole rainbow of minis. Trying to put these back in and get these out. Alright, whole rainbow of minis here. We ended up with an extra green, and I'm not sure if that was on my end or her end, but we have 2 greens in the rainbow. What we have, this one she definitely dyed custom for me because she didn't have a red. This is called Apple Picking. And I'll talk about these more on the podcast, but you guys are getting a sneak peek. Golden Afternoon is the orange, which is what we are experiencing in this room right now. Sippin' on Sunshine is this perfect mustard yellow that has fuzzies from another project on it. And some of these are speckly and some of these are more tonal. They all have, the blue one doesn't have many speckles. And then I have 2 greens. May or may not use both the greens. Where It Never Rains and Through the Looking Glass. One is more teal. And then the blue is kind of a blue-green called Shoreline. It's really dark. This one, I don't see speckles in there, but maybe there are some. And then this we'll call Indigo, why not? Sangria. And then this one is called Lilac Festival. So a whole bundle of rainbow minis that are going to be dispersed between these 2 darker colors, I think. I may end up only using one of the colors, but I'm planning. Come on. Okay, we're losing Shoreline. Come back, buddy. Come back, little guy. So it's going to be a wrap, and the minis are going to be dispersed between these 2 darker colors, because 2020 has had some dark moments, and it's had some bright moments, and we're going to celebrate all of those moments, and just, yeah, looking forward to the fact that I know that there is hope. There is always hope. So this, I swatched in 2 different gauges, and I'm not positive which one I'm using yet. But this is the general sort of kind of stitch pattern. These are not blocked yet. I wanted to show you. My husband's coming back in with the baby, so it might get a little loud for a second. But yeah, this is the larger of the swatches, and this is the smaller. I'm going to block them tonight and see which I like better, but it's kind of a chevron-y, sort of lacy. It'll look better blocked out. Chevron-y lacy situation. That, yeah, I'm planning to have big blocks of the black and the gray, and then little pops of the rainbow, maybe. So stay tuned on the podcast and the Instagram for that. Nobody told me which Hanson they were. I'm very disappointed. I mean, everybody knows that reference, but I'm a 90s kid, so I do. Yeah, so that's currently my design inspiration. Kind of the same for the Herringtone Morla Day. Right now I'm just kind of in a minis mode because I know a lot of people are doing advent calendars coming up soon, so minis and rainbows are kind of my thing right now. But yeah, just in general, usually it starts with a yarn or a color, and then I kind of go from there. Sometimes it's a stitch motif. I really like, I've talked about it multiple times, but I really like this book. A lot of inspo in here. The stitch for the wrap is not directly from here, but it's a modified stitch from this, and I've used this before. I think I used a couple stitches for my Serenity and Shiloh shawl. And yeah, I have a bazillion. I had more marked, but my daughter pulled out a bunch of the markers, so I have to go back through. But it's got basically how to do the shaping and stuff on all the stitches, increases and decreases, and if it works flat and in the round and all that. It's a great book. Crochet Every Way Dictionary by Dora Ornstein. So that's kind of where the inspiration comes from. There's a loud vehicle. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Okay, so that's my best inspiration explanation. That was a fun sentence. If anybody has anything else they want to ask, we're going to have to wrap up in just a couple minutes here, so you can throw it down below if you would like to ask now. I'm going to pick back up my beanie project and work on that for a second. And if nobody else has anything else they wanted to ask or say, thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me and putting up with my learning how to do a live. I don't know that I'll be able to do these monthly or anything, but I would like to do more of them because it is fun to hang out in person. Thank you for the congratulations on the 1-year anniversary, Christine. it's pretty exciting to see how the channel has grown. I think we put up the how to set up for a craft fair beginning of last October maybe, so the channel itself is a little bit older, but the podcast just turned a year, and we put up the how to set up for a craft fair on a total whim because I was just going to set up in the yard anyway, and I think it was actually JoJo who pushed for this whole YouTube thing because I had really not much desire to be on YouTube, and he does all of my editing as well. So he took that side over, and I was like, okay, if you're going to learn how to edit, then I can do this podcast thing because I can sit and talk, and then I mark stuff up, and he actually edits it. He's trying to teach me stuff, but I'm not great at it. I'm not great at computers. He is. So he does that, and I'm very grateful. But yeah, it's been really fun to hit some milestones this year and be able to monetize the channel was a really big goal for us, and it's just really fun to see it grow. I would like to continue doing the podcast as time and child/future children, not pregnant, just saying, future children, allow. I really like doing the stay-at-home mom thing, and I think passive income like a podcast or having patterns online is awesome because, yeah, it's a way to make income while I'm momming at the same time, which is really just my heart's desire. So thank you for everyone who watches the podcast and tunes in every week. I know I'm kind of all over the place sometimes, but I really appreciate you guys, and I'm excited to see our little YouTube community keep growing. If you have ideas for other videos that you would like to see, you can drop them in this comment section. You can drop them in any comment section. You can email me. You can message me on Instagram, because I definitely want to put up content that you guys want to see. So I have a bunch of videos that I have ideas for coming up. I have a yarn winder review. Like I said, I wanted to do some tools reviews. I'm going to keep doing pattern drops for all my patterns and the podcast, obviously. But if there's anything else as far as markets or making or designing or anything like that, I can try and make a video for you. Let's see. At home momming is the best. Keep up with your bossy lady mama bossiness. Thank you. It's truly awesome to be able to be home with my daughter and do this. I don't like to call it a side hustle because it is a big focus for me, but it is kind of on the side to momming, so I do two things. I'm a mom of a business and a mom of a toddler. Make her mom a boss lady. So yeah, if you have ideas, let me know what you guys are into, because I want to make you happy. I'm glad you guys are here. And I guess we will wrap up unless anybody else has anything else. Yay, you didn't miss it. Oh, and we're about to end. I love you. I'm sorry. What's happening? I'm so confused. Yay, Emily, are you pretending to be the police department? I just got a comment that said YouTube police department. What does that mean? Nope. Okay. I don't know who the YouTube police department is, but I hope we're cool. Hi, YouTube police department. Can we be friends? I don't know what that means. Em, you're going to have to watch the replay because I think it's going to kick me off at an hour and we're at 53 minutes, but the bestest yarny friend just tuned in, and you can go check her out at A Rambling Yarn. She's in the comments. Go click over. But yeah, it was fun chatting with you guys, and I hope anybody who rewatches this enjoys the kind of all over the place. Now there's an airplane. Side note, there was an earthquake here this morning, or in Massachusetts. We're in Connecticut, and this morning I was watching the stream for our church online, and all of a sudden it felt like my basement was shaking, just for like a couple seconds, and I stood up to be like, is there someone jackhammering outside? Is there a large, like, snow? It's not snowing, it's 70 degrees, but I was like, is there a giant truck? Like, what was that? And it didn't really process in my mind to think earthquake. Probably should have, because, you know, 2020, why not? And then I saw people on Facebook posting about this earthquake in Massachusetts that we were feeling. It's like a 4.0 in Mass. So that's, I think, a first for me. So yeah, all things are possible in 2020, guys. Having earthquakes in Connecticut, Massachusetts. So yeah, that's pretty much how I'm going to end a video, throwing in a random earthquake. So I hope you enjoyed the wild time that this was. I hope that you got some work done work done on the projects that you were working on, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this afternoon. I don't think there's going to be a podcast episode this week. I did just put up the how to do the market setup on Friday, and we're doing this today, and then my husband has some time off this week, so we're going to do some family stuff. So if there is a video, it'll be a surprise to both you and I. Not planning on putting one up Friday, but maybe we'll see. I don't know. 2020. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see all of you guys next time soon, and hopefully the live process goes a little bit smoother next time, and the lighting is a little better. Whatever. Love you guys. Thank you for coming, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, it's Jack. Jackie, that was some great timing. Okay, well, there's a cat here now. You want to say bye to the people? Say bye, Jackie. That was him saying bye. Okay, we'll end there. I don't actually know how to end, so this might get awkward. Okay, bye. Think I'm ending. Am I sure? Yes, I'm sure. Bye for real.